Hello, and welcome to what I am unofficially calling Yappin' with the Capin, because I'm the Capin, commonly pronounced with a T, and I'm about to be yappin' about stairs. We need to talk about stairs. I think about stairs too much. Way more than the average person. In fact, most people probably don't think about stairs, and I do, which is already more than average, and I want to talk about them. I'm somewhat of an infrastructure nerd. Not to the extent of knowing a lot about it, but just thinking about it a lot. And stairs is number one on that list. I think about stairs so much, it's unhealthy, and I need to vent. So picture this. You're a human being who has just come up with the genius idea of building a shack. A room with a floor. You can now put stuff in here, or just exist in there if you want, and you'll be safe from the elements. Provided you've built it correctly, and it doesn't collapse. Now you can expand on this, but then you're using up a lot more space that other people could be using for their shacks. And so you come up with the ingenious idea to build up. You can build from the surface of the earth outwards rather than across it. Why did no one tell us about this any sooner? This is a concept that has been taken to the extreme more in the modern era. But let's keep it at the fundamentals. You've got a floor and now you've got another floor. That's cool, but how do you get there? Well, you could cut a hole in the ceiling of the first floor, which is the floor of the second floor, and then just like hop and climb up into it. But that's very impractical. Not everyone can do that. So you need to come up with another solution, which there are many, but I'm going to cut to the chase and say, what if you had a floor in between the two floors that's accessible to get to, and then you can get to the next floor? That made way less sense than it should have. And then if you extrapolate that into loads of tiny floors that incrementally, is that a word, ascend to the next floor, now you have that's a staircase. You've made a staircase. Now we're cooking, baby. Now rather than having two floors, you've got loads of floors in between two floors, making loads of floors. But for convenience sake, we'll still refer to them as two floors, and that as a staircase. Now this is genius. I don't know who came up with this, but they're very smart. Real quick, I need to interject by saying that I hate when people call it the ground floor. That is the first floor of the building. The ground is outside the surface of the earth, but when you build a building and it has a floor in it, that's a floor, that's the first floor. And then the next one up is the second floor. I know I'm outnumbered in thinking this, but it annoys me. I understand if the building has a basement, because then that's sub-levels, and so you have floor 0, and then, so it's the ground floor, and then minus is below and positive is above. I get that. There's many arguments you could make, and I don't want to hear them. I've made up my mind. You can't change it. Anyway, so proceeding, I am referring to the ground floor when I say first floor, and the first floor when I say the second floor. It's not confusing at all. I haven't made life harder for you. You're just wrong. Now, there is a problem with stairs, which is that not everyone can use them. Well, gee, that would have been useful to know before I just broke down this genius idea. Turns out not everyone walks around on two legs. Some people use another great invention, which is a wheelchair, allowing them to move around without having to use their legs. So they can't use stairs unless it's going down, and that's a hazard. So now we have a new problem. But it's a very simple solution, which is actually better than stairs. What if rather than having loads of tiny floors that take you from one to another, you have one flat surface at an angle that takes you to the next one? That's what we call a ramp. This requires way less complicated maths about how many stairs you need and how big they need to be, and just replaces it with the maths of what angle to put the slope at. Ramps typically take up more space, so that is a problem. So ramps take up a little too much space. What about, hear me out, what if we have a completely separate floor to the other two floors that moves?
Alright, dude. What the flip?
What I'm suggesting is a chamber that you step into at one floor, and then it moves to one of the other floors. It ascends or descends. This will take up way less room, and you don't have to move. If you didn't catch on already, I'm talking about an elevator. Most people are scared of elevators, or at least they prefer stairs, which I don't understand. Elevators are magical. I'm pretty sure that elevators are statistically like one of the safest feats of engineering, and stairs are one of the most dangerous things that we do on a day-to-day. Do you know how many stair-related accidents there are? Well, I don't, but I think it's a lot. So in conclusion, elevators are an S-tier form of transportation, followed up by ramps, and then stairs. So stairs are fascinating, but they're also kind of bad.